The Match Ball.
All right, welcome to the show. We're streaming live on YouTube for our TSB Plus members exclusively. You can watch that later on and listen to your podcast app as well. Levi Solicitors bring you the Match Ball. There's a 10% discount on their full range of legal services, on their legal fees. Full details and terms on the website. If, for example, you had a landlord who owned a commercial property and the roof had blown off. I'm trying to be topical.
Okay.
Because it's been very windy today at Ellen Road.
So what would you need then?
Commercial dispute resolution.
I'm not sure that's a commercial dispute if
Is
the
it
roof's
not?
blown off.
Right.
No, I don't
What do
think,
you normally get into commercial disputes about?
I don't think that's what it is. Listen, that it's confidential.
What's the other side of that argument? The roof hasn't blown off?
They can do it. They can argue anything. They're clever.
But I can see it. It's still on.
Fine. Roof disputes, anything you want.
Right then. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. And conveyancing as well. That's actually more appropriate. Conveyancing for January. If you're buying a house, you want to make sure it's got a roof on it. So when you do your surveys and stuff, I wish I'd said that.
Yeah.
Anyway, on today's Match Ball, it's Dan here with Michael and with Chris Mack as we evaluate what happened at Ellen Road today, which was a very, very windy, wind-assisted 4-0 against Oxford that could have been bloody loads more. But didn't turn into bloody loads more, but it was easy enough in the end, wasn't it?
It was all fine, wasn't it?
Although, there's just a little frisson of threat when it remained at 1-0, and there were some little breakaways that Oxford did. I'm just trying to find an angle that means it was slightly different to like the Plymouth game, but it wasn't really, was it? It was a walk in the park in the end against a vastly inferior side. No offence.
Yeah, they had that gap year Grealish on the right wing. And
That's exactly what I made a note of.
Yeah,
Gap year Grealish.
Yeah,
I
he
like
had like a little bit about him, but
I think it was mainly the way it looked.
yeah.
When he actually got the ball, you were like, oh no, it's not very good.
Yeah, then they took him off. It's like, oh, their only player has been taken off.
Yeah, he had the hair and a bit of swagger, but then he went through on goal and put it about 40 yards over the bar, and it was like, oh, okay.
Really should have scored there.
He's really not very good.
Yeah.
They had a header, didn't they, as well, early second half. A free kick, near post header. I thought they could potentially have scored from that, and it was still 1-0 at that stage. So there were moments of threat. But, I mean, we had a lot more moments of threat.
I was going to say, all you need to do is look at the momentum graph, and it's all us. They've occasionally strayed over halfway into our half and not done much with it. So, yeah, they did have their moments, but when you're pouring forward as much as we were, there's a chance that you could get caught on the break. But even still, we had so much. You thought it's only a matter of time before we score, and we scored pretty early, and then it's only a matter of time before we score another, and then another, and yeah, the dam burst in the end.
I think our first goal coincided with their first break across the halfway line. By the time the ball went the other way, you could see that there was so much space and not 6 defenders in a low block trying to hold out 3 or 4 attackers.
It's worth touching on the conditions as well today for the benefit of anybody who wasn't inside the stadium. It was blowing a hoolie, as the saying goes. It was pretty wild in there. I'm about as far back as you can be in the east stand lower, so about as far back as you can be under that roof, and it was still raining in my face.
See, I was in the north and it was fine.
Right,
it wasn't even windy. It was all very much blowing. It was kind of blowing towards the cheese wedge. In fact, I would say is the direction of the wind.
There was wind coming from behind me, and I'm in the back of the cheese wedge. the rafters made a rattling noise the entire time. I don't know if you've ever sort of stood near a plane engine as it's winding down.
Yeah,
and it makes that crackling noise. Whatever above my head was making that noise pretty much the whole game, and one of the lights just kept it's like Final Destination. It was just waiting for it to fall on me.
Scaffolding pole comes flying out of nowhere into your face.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, at points people were struggling to take set pieces because the ball kept moving. The corner flags were actually like touching the ground, weren't they? They were bending double,
like Michael Jackson in the video for Smooth Criminal.
That's exactly what
leaning
I was thinking.
over. It was a contemporary reference for you.
But it was a bit more Bobby than that. It was kind of like, and lots of good rubbish on the pitch too.
Yeah. There was a point at which some sort of fast food box billowed over the...
Yeah, it was quite impressive, wasn't it?
But I had visions of, when you start catastrophizing in your mind, just on a low-key level, of like a pass from Ampadu or something just hitting the box and it bobbling and it goes through to one of the Oxford chumps or whatever to go slide it in past Melier, who gets blown over by a gust of wind or something like that. It didn't happen.
There was a white plastic bag that was blowing towards the south stand, and I watched it and I actually hit a guy in the face.
Right.
Very, very comical.
That's just made me think of the Katy Perry song where she sings about the plastic bag.
Oh, I don't know it.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag blowing through the wind? You know that one?
Nope.
No?
No.
Good.
Do you know it, Chris?
No, I wasn't the DJ.
Fair enough.
Very good point by Katie here as well. Why did the ref give us an extra 4 minutes in that weather? Useless. I mean, it is worth saying, like in the East where I was, there were just swathes of empty seats by that point.
Yeah.
As soon as that third goal went in, because I nipped down to the loo for goal number 3, and as that went in, I saw that on the telly, Aronson's goal. And then as I was about to go back up, I was just met by a wall of traffic coming the other way. Loads of people left when it went 3-0. And by the time sort of fourth went in, and then you're getting in towards injury time, it was just so empty around me. I've never seen it that empty.
Yeah, the East Lower is, if the rain's falling straight down, it's covered. It was not covered today, was it? With the angle of the rain and everything, it was it was pretty grim. And I think given the conditions, I mean, the main thing it seemed to do was meant their keeper just put it out of play over and over and over again.
That was so funny.
It was really funny when it just kept happening. And there were even a couple as well where it was in play, but somehow everyone missed it, so it went out anyway.
Did you see the one where he had the two defenders short, but then told them to go up the pitch? One of the centre backs looked at him and was like,
"Really?
Again?
Are you being serious? Really? After the last 5 times?"
Yeah, so that was quite fun with the weather, but I thought we coped with it pretty well, didn't we?
It just added that little bit of, not doubt is not the right word, but you could see even basic passes across the floor would sometimes stick a little bit, or there'd be a little bit of movement in the ball, and it just maybe added just a tiny fraction of doubt to what would normally be really straightforward passes. It added another kind of, just a little dimension of danger to, I suppose, to everything. But it didn't really, at any point, you didn't go, but there were a few little misplaced ones that you saw.
In a game like this against opposition like Oxford, you want it to be perfect conditions because you know the less random elements involved, the more likely you are to win, essentially. So it wasn't ideal, but it was fine. We seemed to deal with it better than they did, I thought.
Yeah, I think the quality just told. There was a few moments when Ampadu at the start looked like a guy who hadn't started in 3 months, but the other sort of midfielders, Tanaka and Rothwell as well. Rothwell had a few moments where he just took the ball and ran directly at defenders rather than risk a ball over the top.
I think like in the conditions like that, that's when Farker ball, and it's had its critics this year, but it probably comes into its own, where you're not just playing speculative balls into the box. We've said before, there are occasions where you just sometimes will them just to chuck one in and see what happens. But then, it did. I think there's a free kick that Rothwell had at one point when we were attacking the south stand, and he span it just out of play to the far side. It wasn't a million miles away. I think it was Tanaka who nearly got on the end of that one. Yeah. But even still, you could just see how the conditions made it so unpredictable. So that certainty and that predictability that Farker ball provides, I think it worked better today in those conditions.
I thought he was going to fully Stephen Warnock that one into the top corner.
Yeah,
I was just hoping to get the trajectory right.
But it's impossible to know what the wind's going to do. That's the problem. It was just because it swirls. It's just hit and hope, isn't it? It either carries it to the back of the south stand or the back of the net. One of the two.
Yeah. But overall, wind, fine. Yeah, not a factor, I would say.
Apart from being sat there and being freezing by the end.
Yeah, it was. Because I had a lot of layers on. Well, not a lot. I've just got an enormous coat, but my eyeballs were cold when I got back into the office because the wind had been coming just straight into my face. I was like,
you got glasses on as well. What's wrong with you?
I know.
I did contemplate wearing ski goggles.
They're not fully insulated. Like, yes, that'd have been a better shout. Yeah, get them fully.
Are you going to do a rave?
Yeah, get some Vicks on my t-shirt. But yeah,
and we dealt with it well, the wind as well by, for example, keeping crosses on the floor as we did.
So that's what it sounded like, rather than just hoying them across.
And Dan James can just tap it in, and we can all relax. I did feel after the goal, it felt like the goal had been coming from basically the first second of the game.
Yeah.
And it did feel like after the goal, we maybe eased off a bit. I felt like they were there for the taking.
That's when I think maybe the conditions were playing a part, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, it's one of those games where there's not an awful lot to pick at, is there? Because
not at all.
It was very, very comfortable.
Yeah, it's about as comfortable as it gets. Yeah, completely. So first goal, James on 9 minutes. I think it's one of those where you could see it coming from a mile off as we broke down the left. Was it Solomon with the assist on that one?
Yeah, it was Pirro keeps it in and then threads it through for Solomon.
Yeah, he did well there.
He gets a bit of a ricochet to him, I think, but he just does the right thing. He just...
because the ball spilled away from him a little bit.
Yeah,
actually.
Just head down, takes it past someone, and then lays it on the plate.
Yeah, and it's nice to see him when they drive towards the line like that, the byline for the cutback. It seems to bring quite a lot of joy. Not something we always do. There's a lot of checking back often, but drive for the line, pull it back, and you could see him steaming in from a mile out on that far side. And nice easy goal. I enjoyed that, but yeah, it felt like It didn't feel comfortable, I don't think, at 1-0 at any point, because you never can be completely comfortable at 1-0, despite all the domination. And, every statistic bears out that we were hugely dominant, and the momentum graph is laughable.
I'm just checking through my my notes. I think the least comfortable moment of that game actually was when Ampadu hit what I'd say it was a very firm back pass to Illan Meslier, and it was one of those that if he misses it, it's going in the net. Was it that one that he hit in the air? No, it was fairly low,
but it was driven.
But it had a lot of pace on it. You think, is this going to go? Could just go under his foot. If there was not a lot of margin for error in it, but it was fine. It's amazing how everybody. I just talk about that background. Your brain almost runs like a background process. See him hit it, you go, no. Yeah, and you know what it is that you're thinking, but you can't quite vocalise it. You just have that sort of low-key panic of things that could go wrong that very rarely go wrong, but except in the last minute away at Sunderland. Yeah, people holding each other in the ground as they see a ball heading towards you. Go, no, it's okay, it's okay. I'm just checking. The next thing, Pirro should possibly have scored. It's far end for me, but he looked like he took a touch, moved it onto his left, had a shot. I want to go into defence of him for this, but go on, Chris. What were you going to say about that?
This, did he have a shot? A couple of people had a shot blocked at that point.
It was saved by the keeper was this one I'm thinking of. Where Pirro, it was played into him and he could have gone with his right, but he turned, got a bit of space, hit with his left, and then he didn't hit it particularly well with his left.
There was a
all right effort.
Yeah, I think there was a sequence of potential chances where two of the players maybe could have had shots, but they carried on working it across and they worked it to Pirro. And in fairness, he had the man goal side of him and it made sense to roll across and try and turn onto his left. And he did get the shot off. It just wasn't quite good enough. But, it's again, you're talking about really minor quibbles for, a hugely dominant win.
Yeah. I in my mind, I thought Pirro was moving on to his left and thinking the defence was all shifting to the right, to his right, and then he would have just in the far corner, which is what he tried to do, but keeper read it all right. Got a good firm hand on it too.
Half time going in at 1-0. Were you happy at that point? I'm looking at the momentum graph, and they had a little burst just before half time. Well, they had burst just after we scored, but that's about it.
They had the little chance from the long throw, didn't they, as well, just before half time when a free kick was going against Byram to begin with, which was not a free kick. But then from that, they end up getting a long throw, and Meslier comes for it, doesn't quite get it, and it's put back in, and it looks for a second like it might dip in, but it was actually fairly comfortably over, I think.
Yeah. And then, looking at the momentum graph at the start of the second half, there was a little bit of back and forth, but then suddenly we just massively went into the ascendancy and scored, and that was it.
Yeah. I did have one note from the first half that gave me some sadness. From a distance, Joe Rodon looked a little bit like Robin Koch.
Right.
With his new haircut.
Oh.
And it just made me really sad. And then I realised that it wasn't him and I was happier again.
Yeah.
So
Rodon in, Koch out.
Got his standard injury for a bit, didn't he, as well?
Yes, his concussion.
He did.
Weekly concussion.
Did you not see his hamstring at the end?
Oh, no.
He was holding his hamstring for like the last 10 minutes and he passed the ball to Gilavogi and then was like, don't pass the ball back to me. And Gilavogi turned around and passed it back to him. Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
He looked quite like tight and uptight. I think he was in quite a bit of pain.
Like Stevie Wonder. Uptight.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
everything's all right.
But you went blind.
I just, that was my first thought.
Sorry, Stevie, if you're listening. 2-0 at Bogle. Nice finish. I was right in line with that. I love it when somebody scores a goal that's just like directly in your line of sight. That's fun. And he did that.
Yeah, it was James, Aronson and Bogle, wasn't it? All combining down that side.
It was Aronson's assist, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good pass back.
Yeah.
Good
nice
finish.
Goal. Very nice.
That was 2-0. And then before long, 3. So that was 57 for Bogle. Aronson 67. Was there an error in the build-up there? Like I said, I was downstairs watching that one on the telly. I didn't see that one in the flesh. Which is weird as well, by the way, because the goal's gone in before it goes in.
Yeah, they misplaced a pass, didn't they, which Solomon picked up and just passed it through to Aronson, who finished with side foot, didn't he? Kind of shifted his body and side footed it in. Yeah. But yeah, I think it came from them just passing straight to us.
Did you feel at 2-0 that's it, game one?
Yeah.
Put to bed at that point. Yeah.
I almost think they looked a little bit like they gave up at that point.
Yeah.
They've obviously got a game in 5 days and like they just weren't getting anything from it.
No.
Maybe at 1-0 they had an element of we can nick something here, but once the second goal went in, like Aronson ghosted through for that third goal, didn't he? But
yes.
I had just made a note before he scored saying Aronson in a nutshell, loads of great pressing, then he picks up the ball and completely misplaces the pass. 65. And then he scores 66.
Egg on face. So then from 67 minutes and Aronson tucking that one away. Solomon scores again 73. Yeah, it's a rout at that point almost. Are we calling it a rout? Are we in football cliches territory?
Kind of pleasingly his final touch as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Booted it in, gets subbed off, see you later.
Ran round celebrating, just went and sat down.
Kicked it hard, didn't he? That was his method because it was a tight angle.
Kicked it hard.
What's the way of still scoring? Kick it hard. So 2 assists and a goal for him. So
and at 4-0 at that point, the momentum graph is all us. They've not had a sniff from that point onwards. They'd definitely given up by then.
Yeah, I think it sums it up. In the 82nd minute, Ampadu tried to beat a man and shoot. I think he was really desperate to score.
We've not even mentioned Ampadu starting, have we?
We're running through the goals.
Why
are you trying to take us off message here?
Oh, sorry, go on then.
So subs at 73. Ramazani, Joseph, and Nonto.
Ramazani should have had a couple probably.
Yeah, that one that he hit it very hard, but just slightly wide. It looked like from where I was.
And I was going to say, what a luxury, what a position to be in, where at 4-0 up on 73 minutes, you can put those 3 on.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
I did think that. As their defence, you must think, oh, fuck off.
Oh, just give over.
It's
not fair.
We'll call it a day here, but don't bring them on. Don't give us anything extra to do.
Yeah, Schmidt then on for Byram at 77, and then Giavogi completed the subs on.
Schmidt got a song.
83.
Have you heard it?
I didn't hear it.
What was it?
You're Schmidt, and you know you are.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that was good.
Nice.
That was good. Bogle got a song, the Last Christmas song. Jaden Bogle. Fits with the syllables, doesn't it?
Yeah. It used to be Patrick Bamford, didn't it?
Singing it for Daniel Farke down beside me.
Okay.
SE3.
But yeah, from that 4-0 point and the subs all coming in, we could have absolutely racked up a cricket score at that point.
Yeah.
That's when you're looking at maybe 5, 6, 7 if you can get some away. But actually, do you know what? It was so won was that game at that point that we almost gave up attacking properly. They kept attacking, but the shooting it got into that territory of, I think I can bag one for myself here now.
Yeah. I think Dan James was quite desperate. Dan James was quite desperate to score. He seemed to have a few chances, didn't he? And he had a few shots where maybe he could have passed, but it's Dan James.
Is he the best player in the championship?
He's the best player in the world, Chris.
Is he the best player in the world? After Ao Tanaka?
Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or. Statistics point of view, massively dominant in terms of possession. I think we saw these stats just before we came in and we were like, only 68%. They didn't have 32%. So what's that all about? But yeah, expected goals, 2.86 to 0.56 reflects it. 23 shots, 9 shots on target, 5 big chances and scored 4 of them. So, no complaints. We outpassed them 2-1, easy. 5 corners today. We didn't even concede a corner. So there you go. Great. Yeah. So statistically, no arguments. Score basically reflected what happened.
Yeah, they only had 61 touches in the opposition half.
Right.
So that really shows that they didn't get beyond the halfway line for the vast majority of that possession. Yeah. So
have you got a stat there at all for touches in opposition box? Because that's always a dead giveaway. Oh no, I've got it. Yeah, 9.
They had 9.
Yeah,
we had
46.
46
to 9. So completely dominant. But what did you expect?
They were a weird team. I didn't feel like they had, which is maybe because they don't have a manager, I suppose. I didn't feel like they had a style of play, or I didn't see their route.
Is this getting Gary Monk, Adam Pope identity?
Well, I didn't see what route they were going to try and win that game.
Right.
Because they didn't particularly they didn't have a low block, I wouldn't say. They didn't have such a commitment to time wasting as some teams. They did a bit of it, but I think some of it was because the ball wouldn't stay still on goal kicks and things. And yeah, it just felt like they turned up being like, oh, we're going to lose. Fine.
My worry, well, not worry, my thought with them was, did sacking that manager, has that maybe pissed some of the players off? Because whenever it got to 3-4-0, they did look like, well, obviously it's freezing. They looked like they didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And maybe...
I mean, half the East stand in, to be fair, by the end.
Yeah. But yeah, there was no identity. There was no... You couldn't tell what they were setting up to do.
No.
But which is the kind of the feeling, the thing you're describing there, which is what prompted the thought in me of thinking, our team's almost coming and throwing games at Ellen Road. Just not really, forget it.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
But like you say, not a long ball team particularly, but not a team that passes, not a team that seems to attack down the wings or through the middle. It's just like, we'll just try a bit of stuff. Maybe like I say, maybe it's just the directionlessness that comes from not having a manager that you just go out and just like give it your best, lads.
Yeah.
With what? Football. Just try and
go wide.
One of you try and score
through the middle
a goal, doing some stuff.
Do we think we're better this year?
I think we're a better team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think an element of that is there's probably more of a squad now?
Yes.
And players are coming on and they're hungry? Because at 4-0, if you come on, you could just sort of muck about for 15, 20 minutes. But like Nanto and Ramazani came on and they were really trying to get at it because they obviously saw what the other two wingers did and were thinking, I better do something here.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I think we talked about it in recent weeks. It felt like there was almost, and this is no slight on Jadon Anthony who scored today, and Burnley have won, but because of that Stoke game last year, where it all fell apart and it all went a little bit wrong in the end. It feels like that was the catalyst for not making changes for Farke for the rest of the season. Whereas I think he's got more faith in his squad, and you can tell that by the rotation that's happening more frequently. It feels like a more balanced squad, and I think it's the catalyst for all of it. I think is the midfield, which was change that was forced upon them. But you just saw it today, like stuff like Rothwell, as you say, Chris Rothwell picking up the ball and driving for the box. Both of them, Tanaka and Rothwell, going deep and picking it up and just making things happen. I think the midfield might just be better, and that's acting as the stimulus for all of it.
Yeah,
we feel more. I think we feel more dynamic and less one-dimensional this year, which I know is one of the sort of criticisms of Farke ball, but faultless today, really.
Yeah, and the options from wide off the bench, I think, are just unbelievably good for this division.
We've got Ilya Gruev back in team training next month as well, seemingly. So
he was now become our fifth choice midfielder or whatever, having started a lot of games last year. But yeah, that's
a Gruev problem, isn't it? Not
Very
an
much so.
us problem.
Yeah,
and a Farke problem.
Was Bamford on the bench or was he just there?
I think he was on the bench, wasn't he?
He didn't come out at half time to warm up, and I saw like 15 minutes to go him coming out of the tunnel with what looked like a coffee or a tea or something. So
he comes out with a pint.
I thought it was mulled wine.
I didn't see him warming up at half time. They come out and do drills at half time.
Yeah.
I didn't see that happen.
Yeah, he was on the bench.
He was,
because there were 7 subs out at half time.
So he was. Yeah.
Obviously, one of them would have been the goalkeeper. Sorry, one of the 9 would have been the goalkeeper. There was an outfield player missing, and it was Bamford.
Right. Unless he picked up a knock or something. I don't know, but there was the standard...
picked up a knock.
His cup of tea, you might
on
have
the bench.
3rd-degree burns off a cuppa.
If anyone can.
And Chambers, young lad Chambers, with his standard young person's haircut. Messy, floppy hair.
Yeah.
As they do. The kids. Anything else to talk about from that then? Solomon's got the statistical man of the match. You've got 2 goals and an assist. Brendy, not far behind him. Goal and an assist. What would you go for? Who would you go for? You've got to go for Solomon, I suppose, don't you? I think it's probably one of his best performances.
It was his best game. Yeah, I would say so.
I think Aronson, that was his type of game.
Right.
Where a team aren't very good and are forced to try and play it from the back at times, and he's just harem scarum. There was a moment where he was pressing someone sort of in the middle of the pitch, then 2 passes went out wide, and he was over in that corner pressing them as well. Like I'm not his biggest fan, but I have to say, like he does just keep going and keep going and keep going,
which is a really, really useful asset at this level. So heading into Christmas, then, where does that leave you on your optimism scale, Michael?
It's a bit disappointing no one dropped points today, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, for the other
I know the results. The results have all gone. They've all gone as you would expect. Truth be told,
Portsmouth 4, Coventry 1. Frank Lampard's Coventry City.
Yes,
that's interesting, isn't it?
He's working his magic.
Suddenly, Sheffield Wednesday are brilliant. They're beat Stoke 2-0. What's going on there?
Oh, Blackburn lost in the last minute at Millwall. That's kind of
funny, isn't it?
It's sort of useful because they were starting to creep up with Blackburn,
getting ideas about themselves.
They were a little bit.
Yeah, Burnley 2, Watford 1. They were 2-0 up Burnley in that, and Watford pulled one back with 10 to go. What else? We got Cardiff 0, Sheffield United 2, which was the one we could have done with something from, but I didn't really expect it, did you?
No, but Norwich were beating Sunderland.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I had the goal alerts on my phone and my watch, and they kept coming through. I was like, it's not happening.
I think Norwich had a man sent off, didn't they, as well?
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Wrongly.
Did they?
Obviously, I've not seen it.
Justice for Cordoba? Not the city, the person.
Okay.
That was who's got sent off for Norwich.
I know that, yes. That's why I looked
You were just
so
testing.
confused.
You were just testing me.
Yeah, it was a terrible decision. That.
So Norwich went up 1-0 up after 21 minutes, 47 straight after the restart. They equalised at Sunderland, and then Bellingham got the winner 20 minutes from time, just after Cordoba had been sent off. But it was a 50-50 split. XG was balanced in that. So I think it was a relatively even game by the looks of it. You got West Brom against Bristol tomorrow, and that. So it's pretty much as you were, isn't it? Sheffield United played 22, 48 points, which is a lot. They'd be on 50. That's a lot of points. But we're played 22, 45. And as we've said, Portsmouth were counting as 2 more points. Sunderland, 2 more points. So we should be on 49 and top, morally. Oh, well. But yeah, Burnley played 22 and 44 points, so 1 behind us, and then Sunderland, 2 behind us. But we've got the best goal difference out of anybody because we're super.
Good. Well done, us.
So yeah, on to Stoke. So given that you know that that's next on the horizon, Michael, what does that do? How does that interfere with your optimism?
I think we're going to win some away games over Christmas.
Oh, no.
That's a bold prediction.
Right.
But I think this is where we can turn it.
Right.
Our big squad, our luxury players that we've got, I think will help us out massively during this period.
Yeah. The Stoke game does, so we need to be careful with it and treat it with respect, but it does feel slightly different in that we felt like we had the luxury of rotation there, I think, last time, and Farke perhaps didn't know his squad quite so well, but maybe now he does. But we're coming off last year off the back of beating QPR 1-0 at home, beating Bristol City 2-1 at home, and then we went to Norwich, and it was from 2-0 down, we won 3-2. So we were riding a crest of a wave a little bit at that point. I think we thought we were invincible.
Yeah, I would be worried if we didn't win at least one of those 2 games. I would expect to win 2. 4 points would be okay. And then Blackburn at home on New Year's Day. Obviously, we win every home game between now and the end of the season. I think that's that's the rule.
That is a different proposition to the Blackburn away game recently, I think.
Yeah.
I think it is a different proposition.
Although that did look a lot like Blackburn at home at the end of last season.
It did.
But again, that was a different season, Michael.
Okay, it was the same year.
And the same manager.
But looking ahead to Boxing Day, you've got Blackburn facing Sunderland. That won't be easy for Sunderland. Bristol City against Luton, Coventry. Sorry, wow! That'll be a blockbuster one. They should televise that. You've got Frank Lampard's Coventry City against Wayne Rooney's Plymouth Argyle.
Nice.
Borough against Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich against Millwall, Oxford against Cardiff. Like you say, Chris, that was probably on their mind late on in today's game. Preston against Hull, Sheffield United against Burnley. That's your biggie. Swansea against QPR, Watford against Portsmouth, Derby against West Brom slightly later, and then slightly later than that again is us at Stoke, 8 o'clock kickoff. So it's all to play for. But how do you feel optimism like in terms of time?
No,
have you abandoned your time scale?
I've abandoned my time scale. It's too complicated. I can't remember what happened last week.
Right. Can you remember what happened last night?
Yeah. Yeah, I got home. It was fine.
We beat Ipswich 4-0 this time last year.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Oh.
Thought we were going up then. Oh, well.
But they've not had a nice time today either, have they?
They haven't. That is true.
I'm now going to have to lower myself.
What did it end? Was it 4-0?
I'm going to have to lower myself to looking at the Premier League scores like I care.
I think
it was 4-0.
4-0.
Arsenal currently 2-1 up at Palace, but yeah. Man City's demise. Can we just have a moment of admiring that? That was fun, isn't it?
Properly finished.
Blames in the chat.
It's like, I know we're not doing, just to let you know, by the way, we're not doing any propaganda now until after Christmas, but we'll bank it all the good stuff, yeah?
Yeah, I'll kind of keep an eye on
Maybe.
stuff.
Or just go away and eat your own body weight in cheese.
Potentially that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's an option, isn't it?
I'm surprised to see Josh McEachran coming on for them today. That was
That's a name I recognise.
And then you went, oh! That was about my only comment on it. But
is he now a grizzled championship bastard? He's 28.
He's older than that.
Is he?
Yeah, he's been around forever.
Maybe somebody else in their squad was 28 when I looked on Transfer Market.
Wow, this is the insight you come for.
Yeah.
Someone in their squad is 28. This is where someone is going to now look at someone going, no one in their squad is 28, actually.
Yeah.
Josh McEachran is
31.
31.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's
Close.
some accusations flying around in the comments that we've taken the filthy Sky money. No, Sky, they withdrew any sponsorship money. They may advertise on the, but we don't know what goes on the adverts because we don't control them. They just get sold and put in dynamically. Just because I've put the Sky. Do you know what it is? The reason is because the graphics, if you're on the video version, I just did a bit of work on the graphics so we could show some of the stats and things like that. It was easier, and it's no more complex than it's easy to have the text centered for the score to change it. It was pissing me off on the other side of the screen. So I moved the score to the middle. I just needed something on the right-hand side to balance it. And I thought I'll just put the Sky Bet EFL logo there because that's what we're doing.
Put the Coca-Cola one there instead.
Okay.
Put League One on.
Yes,
for a laugh.
I'll get to change it for the FA Cup soon, won't I?
Oh, nice.
For the Harrogate game. But
I think people would know if we'd taken the Sky money. We'd all be in here in mink coats.
sat here praising Don Goodman and Andy Hinchcliffe.
That's when the full hair transplant comes in for me. When the big money lands.
What are you going to go for?
Hair what? Well, I'm just going to ask for a Barry Bannon. I feel like I don't want to go for too much hair.
Come on, you want a value for money, surely.
Well, I'll start with the Bannon, work up to the Rooney, maybe full Valderrama to finish.
if one day you just completely straight batted it, turn up like Carlos Valderrama, just sat there.
He's kept it as Valderrama as well. Have you seen him?
Bob, I haven't.
Even though he's quite an old man, he's kept his big hair. Good on him.
I was thinking of is it Rene Higuita is the one who got done for kidnapping, like ransom kidnapping. I almost accused Carlos Valderrama of that.
Yeah, avoid the old kidnapping. Doesn't feel like a good thing, does it? So we've got some extra time to come your way. Time up on the match ball right now. Thank you for joining us on the live stream, members. In the audio version, if you listen to your dedicated members feed, your version will be extended with extra time, some bonus chat now when we end the stream. If you want to become a member, head to thesquareball.net/plus. And we've got nothing coming up now besides the West Stand. We're going to record with Graham. They're double fisting it at the minute, by the way, him and Farker.
Is that right?
Yeah, because that's the after Oxford press conference and the pre-Stoke preview press conference is
that
happening.
Seems remarkably sensible. They normally make him come back like an hour later.
I wanted him in on Christmas Day.
To come and do another one for what happened? Well, we spoke to you about 4 hours ago, but has anyone got injured since?
Yeah.
Surely that's more pointless.
Yeah, no, what are you going to ask?
Yeah. Is Pascal Struijk fit? I don't know. I'll know in 5 days.
Yeah, I'll see. We'll see. I know, but they have to do it, don't they? I think it's like the rules. So there you go. But yes, so there's nothing now, but that'll be coming out on Monday. The West Stand, but after that, it's just going to be match balls through to about the whole game or thereabouts.
Yeah,
just so we can spend some time with our families.
Oh, we might do some extra shows in the middle. Who knows?
Yeah, or if things go bad at home,
let's see how it's going.
You'll see a big flurry of shows appearing.
3 podcasts that day. Interesting.
In your feed. Thanks a million for joining us up to this point as well. Thank you if you've bought merch. We've sent out 4,000 parcels we've done in the last month.
It's been ludicrous.
It's been crazy. Thank you. Michael's ready to collapse.
The person I can see on the chat here who was giving themselves the YouTube username of Michael's ex-girlfriend. Brackets the Oxford lass. I admire your dedication to stalking me. I'm sure it's not her, but if it is,
I would say I've been looking at the comments coming in, and I don't think it is.
Okay,
if it is, it's a good act.
It's quite a relief. I mean, they spelled my name wrong as well.
Right.
It's the Irish way.
That'd be a bit insulting to not remember my name. 5 years we were together.
Was it 5?
It was, yeah.
Good stint, yeah.
Yeah, good stint.
Yeah.
Yeah, best years of our life.
Listen, thanks a lot for joining us on this one. Yeah, we're going to head over onto to record extra time now while we wait for Graham to come out of the double press conference. But in the meantime, if you are celebrating Christmas, have a lovely time. We'll see you on the other side. See you in a bit.
The Match Ball.